at you all the way from our dorm rooms to your conference rooms. Sabah and Dan team in here, two college students who are ready to talk to you guys about business and lifestyle from our personal experiences.
Each week we'll discuss about our lifestyle as college students as well as our tips and strategies starting in the business field. We'll bring on successful entrepreneurs in the millennial generation to share with us their journey and how they got started and where they're at now.
Our goal is to help you students, millennials, and entrepreneurs gain inspirational advice by our spontaneous conversations and meaningful guidance. Let's dive on in.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 35 of Dorm Rooms Conference Rooms. And always, I have Sabah here with me. Sabah, how are you doing?
What is going on, Dan? I'm super excited about our topic today just because later this week I'm going to a huge event I'm sure all of you guys have heard us talking about, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, so guys, today we're actually going to be talking about the huge event that Sabah is going to, as well as connecting with influencers, because this is the day and age of influencer marketing on social media. If you haven't heard about it, this will be a first and you'll hear about it right here. But Sabah, to get us started, let's talk about the event you're going to. What's it called? Where's it at? Who will you be meeting?
Yeah, definitely. So it's called the Young Entrepreneur Convention. It's going to be in Des Moines, Iowa this Friday and Saturday. So I'm super pumped about it just because last year I went to it. It was the first year that it happened. It was founded by Brandon T. Adams, which I'm sure you guys have heard about in this podcast before. But last year was the first year. This year we're bringing it back. We're going to have speakers, a pitch competition, just a lot of great people to network with. But a couple of our speakers that we have this year is Jake Paul, Greg Roulette, and then just a lot of different people that we get to meet with. So I'm really excited just because I'm part of the team this year, just really helping out with it. But I'm also excited because I get to network and connect with a lot of big name people who really know what they're doing in business. So that's like super exciting because I love talking to people, getting to know what they like to do and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be really interesting. I mean, you'll have to give us an update about like everything that happened there because you'll actually this episode will air the following week after the YEC. So this episode will air on Wednesday and you'll be there from this upcoming Friday and Saturday. So it'll be really cool. Definitely interesting stuff there. You guys definitely need to go to big events and things like that just because you'll learn a lot. You'll meet a lot of interesting people. But Sabah, why is it important to you to get to know these influencers in different markets right now? Where do you see kind of the world going with this all that it's like important to go to these events?
Yeah, well, I want to start with this quote that I really like. It's, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. So if you want to be like successful in life, no matter what field you're in, you really need to find people who have already done what you want to do and just follow in their footsteps. I know everything that I've done so far with like obviously starting this podcast, writing a book, starting my blog, my website, everything like that. I couldn't have really done that without people who have helped me along the way. And also like connecting with other people also gives you a great insight on just like the field that you want to be in. So for me, I want to do fashion. So I want to connect with people who may have a fashion company who are in that business so they can really just give me advice on what they did when they were younger starting their businesses and what they're doing right now. So what I like to do when I go to events is I like to just like introduce myself to everybody who is in the room just to make sure I get to connect with everybody because you don't know who you can meet at these type of events, especially like big conferences like these. Just like going up to people, introducing yourself, and then also be that person who asks speakers questions. So like when they ask if anybody has questions, like stand up, say your name, and let everybody know who you are because doing that will really allow you to be like, okay, that person is so confident in what they're doing and stuff like that, and people actually know who you are in that room.
Yeah, it's definitely really important to like go to big events just for a couple of reasons, like you said, to meet these influential people. But it's like you got to talk to those people as well. I mean, you're always one conversation away from your next $1 million sale. So you definitely have to keep talking to people and learning. But really today we wanted to talk about like the importance of connecting with these influencers and how to get yourself ready for them. So something I know a lot of people do before they go to these big events, they'll look up things about the speakers. They'll get to know them, they'll do research about them. And that's the main thing. You have to do your research before you can do anything else. Make sure you get the research in because if you don't know these guys and who they are, like you won't know how to connect with them properly. If you're talking to a real estate tycoon, why would you talk about cars or something like that? So definitely, if you were to go up to Grant Cardone, you would actually, with him, you could start talking about RVs. But if you're going to go talk to Grant Cardone, you're going to talk about real estate and things like that, because that's what, made him his fortune. And you want to learn about real estate as well and things like that. And you're going to go talk to Andy Frisella, how he got, connected with doing nutritional supplements. So definitely you have to do your research on these different people before you go there. So Sabah, what are some things you were doing to get ready for this weekend? What are like some major things that like you've been doing to help out with the events even?
Yeah, so in my book, I actually devote a whole chapter in actually how to get ready for an event and meet these type of people. So I don't have it with me right now, but off the top of my head, I can think about first, like if you're going to an event, it can be somewhat intimidating just because there's so many people there. Like, how are you going to connect with the people that you want to? But it's really just about first, like mentally preparing yourself to be like, okay, be open to the people that you want to talk to, because sometimes there'll be people who like maybe a little standoffish or may not want to talk to you, but then of course there'll be those people who will like come up to you, introduce themselves and stuff like that. But it's first really knowing about how you're going to introduce yourself. That's the main thing, because it's like the first like 10 to 15 seconds on when you approach somebody, you need to make that good first impression. So for me, I like to introduce myself by like saying my name and something that people will remember me by. So it's not about spilling your whole life story about like, oh, I'm from Iowa State University, I'm studying 2 majors, blah, 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 just because like they're not going to remember any of that. So it's about finding something that's memorable about you and saying that within the 10 to 15 seconds when you approach somebody. So after that, doing that, and then just start like a meaningful conversation. Ask them about themselves, what they do for a living, and then just build that relationship. And then also after, if you really do want to stay in contact with their person, ask for contact information. That's like one thing a lot of people may get scared about or forget to do, but like hand them your business card, just get their number on your phone. And then lastly, do that follow-up. I mean, that's another step that a lot of people forget to do, and it's really important to really sustain that relationship after the event is over. I know I've built a lot of great relationships from meeting people at these events, but if I didn't follow up with them, I probably wouldn't have that relationship today.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely important to stay connected with all these influential people, because you never know how they're going to help you later on in life or how you could even help them. I mean, you got to obviously add value to all these really influential people just to really gain, more rapport for that with them and really get to know them on a whole other level. But, another thing is too, with our podcast, we've been able to meet some really influential people. We've been able to talk to, experts in different fields. And we get ready by that by just like, we look up information about them. We specifically choose who we want on this show for different reasons to provide value to our listeners, but as well as like get to make a connection with them, get to learn from them. And that's something I know Brandon's been doing too, obviously, guys. So recently in his crowdfunding, he's been really making connections with a lot of influential people to help them with their crowdfunding campaigns. So he could really, you get their help later on with different things and really build the relationship. The relationship always comes first. And that's something we always try to build with when we talk to somebody. And it's something you have to do too. I mean, Saba, what's like with one influencer that you could think of offhand, like who is it and how did you build that relationship with them?
Well, the first one I can think of is obviously Brandon, just because when I met him, it was just like a relationship that I didn't really see it coming. And a lot of times that happens because you go to these places, these events, these classes or whatever, and then you just don't really see yourself like, oh, I'm going to make this like really great relationship with this mentor who's going to help me like years and years down the road. But that's what happened like with me and Brandon. Like I went to this to listen to him speak. And then I reached out to him, I got his contact information, and then I did the follow-up. And what really made that relationship wasn't that speech, because I didn't really even talk to him at that actual event. It was the follow-up that I did, because I remember I emailed him, and then after that, we just continued to talk, and that's how I built that relationship. So once again, the follow-up is really important to do if you're at these events, or even if like you're building a relationship like over like Facebook or something. I know I've met a lot of people through like Facebook groups and stuff like that, and it's about like constantly talking to these people, whether it's like via email or just like Facebook messaging.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something, really to take away from there is, really keep the messages open, keep the positive flow going. And I mean, something that I've always taken away from, these mentors and things like that and these influential people is really learn about like their routines, what they did to, get where they are, take away their mistakes, and then don't do their mistakes again. So that's something I've always looked into. That's something that I've always thought about, is learn from their mistakes, and so you don't perform their mistakes. So that's definitely something we all have to think about.
So Dan, to give our audience kind of like an example, how would you introduce yourself if you're meeting just like either if it's an influential person at an event or just like a random person that you want to talk to?
So pretty much what I would do is I would say, obviously introduce my name first. My name's Dan Tiemann. And then I would give them a short little background about myself. I'm from Chicago. I'm a 22-year-old from Chicago, Illinois. And I run a digital marketing agency, as well as I have a podcast show. And that gives a quick little tidbit about who I am, tells them what I do and things like that. And then if I'm meeting an influencer and like I could see where they might need help or something like that, I would be like, if you ever need any help with digital marketing or anything like that, it's a field I'm really into. I would love to actually help you with that. And you got to provide the value to them. So you don't obviously ask for them to be a client, but you say, can I help you? What can I do for you? And you definitely want to, give, and then try, eventually when you give so much, you could take a little bit back at the end. So right now I actually just asked Greg Roulette if he needed help with digital marketing. So I'm waiting to hear back from him, but I'm hoping he says yes. And I'm hoping I can be a part of, his team in some way for digital marketing and see if I can help him out at all. So it's, just different things like that. You introduce yourself, say what you do, give a little quick tidbit about yourself. I know people do it differently. Some people say like, I know Brandon always introduced himself as Brandon T. Adams. I do the power of video, or I influence people through the power of video, speaking, writing, and something else, I believe. But I know everyone does it a little bit differently. I mean, there's definitely not a wrong way, I guess, unless you just make a fool of yourself. But there's no really wrong way to do it. You really just talk about who you are. If you're genuine, they'll be genuine back to you. Don't try to BS somebody, They can see right through that at the end of the day, because everyone's trying to BS the influencer because they know they want to be a part of their team or things like that. So definitely be genuine with them and tell them what you can do. Show them where you could provide value, and always provide that value when you can.
Yeah, definitely. I like how you said, like, always add value to these people, especially if it is like bigger name influential people, just because if you go up to somebody and be like, oh, I need help with this, like, odds are they're probably not going to want to build a good relationship with you, just because they have probably so many people who do that on a daily basis, whether it's like in person or via email. So really find that thing that you do and then offer work for them, or just like add value to them for free. I know I did that for Brandon a lot, and in return he like really helped me out with things. So make sure to add value also when you meet these people.
Yeah, guys, add the value. Always stay, connected with influential people. But that's all we have this week on DR2CR. And you can find us at dr2cr.com. You can find Sabah at sabahali.com. And you can find myself at danieltiemann.com. Sabah, what are some final words?
So definitely go to these big events, meet some great people, and just remember to stay cool and stay calm and just introduce yourselves and have fun, guys. But thank you guys so much for listening on Dorm Rooms to Conference Rooms.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Dorm Rooms and Conference Rooms. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you haven't joined our accelerator program yet, you can find that at livetogrind.com/college, where we connect you with today's latest influencers and experts in their fields.